Bethlehem was bustling, overflowing with life. Every street was a river of people, every home was filled to capacity, and every available space was already claimed. The city was a whirlwind of activity, a frantic rush of travelers and residents, all caught up in their own affairs. No one seemed to notice the quiet miracle that was drawing near, the moment when heaven itself was about to touch the earth. Amidst the chaos, Joseph led Mary gently, his face etched with concern. He was searching for a place, any place. A room, a quiet corner, just a small bit of shelter for his young wife. He knocked on door after door, his knuckles growing sore. Behind each one, a face would appear, sometimes apologetic, sometimes weary, but always shaking its head in refusal. The doors would close, one by one, shutting them out. It wasn't born of cruelty or malice. The city was simply full. The relentless crowd and the sheer chaos of the census had left no room for them. With each rejection, Mary waited patiently under the soft glow of a lantern, her faith unwavering even as hope seemed to dwindle. Finally, at the very edge of the city, away from the noise and the endless stream of people, Joseph's eyes fell upon a humble stable. It was a place no one would choose, a space meant for animals. It wasn't clean, it wasn't prepared, and it certainly wasn't an honored place for a birth. But inside, animals shifted in the dim light, and a faint, warm glow promised shelter from the cold night. As they approached, the sounds of the city began to fade, replaced by a quiet calm. And in that moment, it became clear that sometimes God chooses to enter the very places that the world overlooks. Inside the stable, the air was still. The only sounds were the soft breathing of the animals and the rustle of straw. There were no cheering crowds here, no grand celebrations, no formal announcements of what was to come. There was only silence, the quiet rhythm of breath, and the profound peace of obedience. Joseph gently helped Mary to rest, and the warm light from their single lantern filled the small space. The world outside was unaware, but in this humble shelter, all of heaven waited in hushed anticipation. And then, in that quiet, overlooked place, the promise of generations was fulfilled. The Word became flesh. God entered the world, not with the force of a king or the fear of a conqueror, but as a helpless, tiny child. A soft, divine light began to fill the stable, growing warmer and brighter, a silent testament to the miracle unfolding. It was a moment of pure, sacred intimacy, away from the eyes of the world. Mary, filled with a strength that came from above, carefully wrapped her newborn son in strips of cloth. Joseph, his heart a mixture of awe and reverence, gently placed the baby into a manger, a simple feeding trough for the animals. The King of Heaven, the ruler of the universe, now rested his head where livestock fed. In this one profound act, the ultimate glory entered into the deepest humility. The sacred and the mundane met in a way the world had never seen. Mary held these moments close, pondering them in the depths of her heart. Joseph stood watch over his new family, a silent guardian filled with an overwhelming sense of peace and purpose. No one in the bustling city came to applaud. Not a single person outside these humble walls even noticed. But it didn't matter. In the quiet of the stable, heaven had come near. The distance between God and humanity had been bridged. The rest of the world slept on, oblivious. The travelers in their crowded rooms, the residents in their homes, all were unaware that in that single night, everything had changed. The ancient promise, spoken by prophets and longed for by generations, was now breathing the same air as humanity. Emmanuel, God was with us. The long-awaited hope of the world was finally here, sleeping in a manger. Just outside the city, on the quiet hillsides, a group of shepherds kept watch over their flocks by night. Their world was simple, dictated by the rhythm of the seasons and the needs of their sheep. The flicker of their campfire cast long shadows as the animals settled for the night. They were ordinary men, living ordinary lives, completely unaware that the greatest announcement in all of history was about to break the silence of their peaceful watch. Heaven had waited long enough. The silence of God, which had stretched for centuries, was about to be broken. The Savior had been born, and now the news had to be told. But this divine declaration wasn't destined for the ears of kings in their palaces or for the powerful rulers in their courts. It was reserved for the humble, for the overlooked, for those with hearts open enough to receive it. In the darkness, the night sky began to brighten, a hint of a light beyond the stars. A gentle wind stirred the grass, and the shepherds, sensing a change in the atmosphere, looked up in wonder. Heaven was preparing to speak,